Do you like video games? Do you like magical sounds? Do you like music? Do you like anything? What's up, guys? Today, I've got such a fun video for you. I have decided to take a sequence from none other than FromSoft's Elden Ring, and I am going to do a complete audio rehaul of it. I have taken a muted clip of some Elden Ring gameplay, and I'm going to rescore it, and I am going to do all the sound design, sound effects, voiceovers, pretty much anything you can think of. It is a silent clip, and I'm gonna completely redo all the audio in this sequence, and I'm gonna show you how I would go about it, and maybe give you a little insight into the game developer world. In this scenario, I'm doing it a little more like film post-production because I only have a video clip of it, and I'm not gonna, take it into an audio middleware program like Wise or Fmod and implement it with code, but I am going to give you a walkthrough of some sound design tips and tricks, and some scoring tips and tricks, and then I'm gonna put all of that audio to the video sequence and then show you the final product. This video was such a blast to make. It was so much fun, so I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe, leave a like. But yeah, let's get into it. So first, I guess I should show you the clip. I'm gonna do a little bit of an overworld theme. I'll transition into a sort of battle sequence right here. There's a lot of sound effects that are gonna be happening in this. Swings, crashes, magic sounds, grunts, hits, wind, destruction, things like that, blood, so much sound. I can't imagine implementing all of this and making sure all of those audio cues hit when they're supposed to. It's crazy. But there's so many cool things happening that I just wanted to try and emulate some of the work FromSoft did on this game. So cool. You want to go really, really slow for an overworld theme or an explore theme. It's just one of those things where it's always much slower than you imagine. First things first, obviously this is like high fantasy, medieval, eldritch, or magic fantasy stuff. The thing about a lot of fantasy music and media is that it is often in Dorian. Something about that major sixth and that minor key makes it feel mystical almost. So I like to mix Dorian with Lydian a lot, so there's just this weird ethereal movement, and there's a lot of little tricks you can do in scoring media like this where you don't have to really stay within a mode or a key as long as you tastefully push and pull the person who's experiencing it. At the end of the day, it's to service the overall story, right? And the overall mood and the feeling the player gets when they play it. It is not to be the main attraction. It's not what should draw attention. So you have to kind of really pull back. For something like this, where I'm going to be using all MIDI, I kind of want to play to my strengths and do simple things really effectively. Yeah, really pretty. And I think if I can, use the strings here to just kind of push and pull. You don't want there to be a clear loop point. It kind of tricks the listener to think, oh, nothing looped there, right? Like I add a layer and they go, nothing looped. It needs a little anticipation here. Hitting on triplets. That's sick. I think that's such a cool little motif I've got going. Very fantasy. Kind of want to find stuff to take it into this magical realm too, and eldritch horror vibe. A little too childish for Elden Ring, you know what I mean? Yeah, that could be a cool little lead there. That might come in later, I don't know. Pretty aggressive, so I like it, but I don't know if it needs it. Maybe still too much going on. Cool, 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 cool. I think that's a good place for my floor theme to stop. Now we go for my battle theme. Pretty cool. Ooh, ooh, we crashed. Uh-oh, it's not good. I don't know when I last saved. Uh-oh. Crashes happen. Make sure you're saving often. You're backing up. That is mega important. Really cool stuff. I'm thinking about going on to some percussion and calling that my battle sequence. This is cool. It's a cool vibe. Oh, what else can I do? So, starting with this ice glowing sword here. Yeah, I could turn that into something. Honestly, I just want to record that. Boom. Give myself a little sample. Drag it out. Mess with it. I think I'm gonna go into Portal. I like that. I'm gonna record that into Edison now. Cool. I don't want to layer that with like a white noise thing almost. Yeah, I want to try something with this wind one, right? With this sample. I'll throw it on a sound effects one. Put some chroma on it. Sick. Yeah, very cool stuff. So, turn our oscillator off. Turn our noise on. I don't really want it to be AC out, though. That's cool. We could maybe even do granular stuff. Non-tonal noises. Analog. Let's do organics. Wind chimes. Yeah, that's sick. It's very magical. Get a convolution reverb on there. Cathedral in the sky sounds like a cool. That's sick. That's so sick. I don't know if I want that delay actually. It's kind of sounding like a bell, so maybe I turn the density down. I'm gonna do a bandpass filter, crazy resonances, and then tie this LFO to the cutoff and have this filter affect the noise and this one. And then this LFO is gonna go crazy. It's a cool sound. Little 2R2D2. I vibe with that. Might even layer that. It's already pretty layered. Very musical. Oh, cool. Again, we have to remember that this is going to be super quiet. Yeah, I kind of want that like Gary Polar void. As this like heel thing, like sparkly, sunlight, rejuvenating. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, just a little chord maybe. Okay, take that out. Flip that thing and reverse it. That's probably gonna sound like shit. It's pretty crunchy, but that's kind of cool. Cool, that's pretty good. So we've got sword charge up, sword swing, our enemy's glowing core thing. It's when he hits his hammer down, star magic things shooting at him. So I've got at least 5 more magic effects to make. Anyway, I was thinking about it, and for the sword swings where he like launches like an ice blast at the enemy, I want to do a mix of synthetic and like Foley work. So I was thinking I will do some voice sounds, use things like paper and ice, and just try and blend together these sounds to make, you know, the sound effect that I want. So it's like light and kinda ice, so I kinda want this sharp but also like tonal vibe to it. So first I have a crystal glass with ice. Oh my god, it's so cold. It's like actually perfect day to do ice sound effects because it is 0 degrees out right now and it's about to be a huge blizzard. Okay, I now have a few different Foley samples that I have either used like props and my mouth. Very cool. I'm gonna record that. Chrome is a cool plugin. If you haven't seen it before, you choose a key, and it is a frequency-based tuner. So it takes different frequencies and tunes them to your key. Pretty cool if you put the portal before the chroma. Okay. Let's go through and choose. Okay, I think this should be in our charge up. I think I should reverse it. Sick. Get some wind chime samples. I think that's a pretty freaking good charge up sound. Bro, it's so good. How am I supposed to not use that? I don't want to just have a bell hit there. Cool. I think that's kind of exactly what I'm looking for. Okay, that's pretty cool. Okay, before I get into the next sound, I need to give a huge shout out to Aftertouch Audio on YouTube. He is a fountain knowledge on sound design, and especially he has a series about magic sounds, and that's where a lot of my research has gone for this type of stuff. He's just super good at showing you how you can achieve these like magical, very high quality sound effect sounds without like a lot of processing or, you know, crazy gear, or, you know, you don't have to buy really expensive sample packs. Like, he shows you how you can do it within your DAW and, you know, maybe even just using a mic. So I'm going to link his channel in the description below because it is fantastic. You should all go check it out. That said, he's all about breaking the sounds down to kind of simplify your process for making them. So this next one is kind of like a light beam, and for me it'll be like the charge up and then that blast, that continuous blast, right? Imagine how you would think of a battery sounding if it charged in a second, right? It'd be like, or like right before a star explodes, right? It's like this, all this energy. So it's noise that's going to be rising. So it'll be like kind of vibe. And then it's also going to be this hum, like an electrical hum in my head. Just like, right? We'll create the charge up using those two kind of ideas and see if we can come up with anything cool along the way. And then the blast will be much more tonal, I think. Almost lasery, because it is kind of that. But it's almost like solar, so it might have this high-end sizzle kind of fire. And because this is a monster, I'm thinking somewhat musically about this. And what I mean by that is he is our enemy, so he's kind of opposite of us at the moment. So I am using the theme I've been using for all of our heroes sound effects have been A. So I'm using the dominant of A, not particularly the opposite, but you know, the most tension against A. And then I'm also using a tritone, which is E, the fifth of A. And I'm using a tritone up from. I have a lot of crazy tension in the build up. Cool. It's a bit sci-fi, but is okay. I'll call that good. So, last thing I think I need the shooting of the beam. I'm going to use some other samples for this, and maybe a little bit of serum. I lined up. I love Kiloheart's ring mod plugin. Right? That's pretty cool. That's really cool. Like giving old Dragon Ball a little bit. Sick as that. Okay, so while this project is opening up, I wanted to say that I did a lot of the busy work of the Foley sounds, and I can make a whole video about how to go through and do some post-production for film or video games, how to place samples. So as you can see here, I already did a ton of placing all samples. I've broken up all of the sounds in this game sequence here as footsteps. These are a bunch of different footstep samples and different things. Like, you think when our character here is running, you have how many different elements? You've got the gravel, you've got the metal on his armor, he's got chainmail on, he's also got cloth on, so you got to think about like cloth as it moves. His boots, are they leather? Are they, you know, do they have some sort of wood on the heel? Just kind of things that create this depth of sound. Your audience is not just hearing one sound effect over and over and over again. In this one, I've kind of split it up into cloth, chainmail, and metal, concrete, and gravel. Right? I have imported all of the magic sounds I made into our Pro Tools session, and I have placed them along my timeline here, just kind of how you would do it in a post-production film kind of way. So you can see here, I've got all of my footstep sounds, as I was showing you earlier. I've got my environment sounds, the monster sounds, which is a lot of creaking and metal, the magic sounds you watched me make, the destruction sounds, and I have brought in my music for my explore theme and my battle theme. And I have given myself a master fader, obviously, so I can watch my overall level, a audio channel for recording. So I'm going to do some voiceover, and generally, you know, not a lot of voiceover in this game. There aren't like voice lines or anything. But I'm just going to do some grunts, general combat noises here to kind of add that little heightened realism. You know, this person wouldn't just be fighting this beast and be completely silent. He's not him like that, you know what I mean? And then the beast wouldn't be completely silent. Even though it is like a big tree beast, it's still like a living creature, so it's got to make noise. I'm going to do it as I've got the video pulled up, and I'm just going to watch and have my Pro Tools project set in punch-in mode and just record some grunts. Terrible voice acting. Well, I'm not a voice actor at all. It was a horrible job. Here are all my footsteps. I've just lined it up. I had to do a lot of chopping for the other steps in the chain and cloth. my voiceover. I did it in one take just because it was such an underlayer that it didn't really matter for me for this video. Just to show you it's another part of it. We've got our environment samples, so our wind, and those are just really under as well, so pretty simple stuff. My tip for environment sounds is find a good wind sound. If you have a high quality audio recorder, hear some good wind. It doesn't make that like distortion sound that wind sometimes makes when it's hitting a microphone. Like that, I feel like instantly takes me out of a scene. If wind is like hitting the microphone, you can tell it's a microphone, right? So then you're instantly torn away from the suspension of belief, right? So make sure the wind samples you're using are good if they're going to be noticeable. Our monster has a lot of creaking and squeaking movements. I've either used the audio suite to render them as pitched down and reverberated, or reversed them, or, you know, just done some. You don't have to go crazy on this, but enough to make it be like, this is coming from a 20-foot tall tree monster, right? These are all our weapon sounds here in the blue. Lots of impacts and swinging sounds, stuff to really make those hits feel harder and like they have more speed and intentionality. These are all of our magic sounds. I've reversed some of them within Pro Tools. I've chopped them up a bunch, looped them, crossfaded them, all according to the timing of the gameplay sequence here. Finally, again, our destruction, and then our music. Here's the final product of my Elden Ring rescore, re-sound design, rehaul of all of the audio. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate you sticking around. This was such a fun video to make. It took about 4 days, and it really makes you think how much work goes into things like post-production for film and games. I can just imagine how much time and effort the FromSoft team put into Elden Ring, and like every little decision adds to the overall feeling of the game, and it's what has players just obsessed with their gameplay. So hats off to them and any game developer who dedicates their life to this type of thing, because it is an insane amount of work and it takes a lot of fortitude and a lot of skill to be good at this type of stuff. So I really appreciate doing stuff like this. It was a ton of work. So I would really appreciate it if you would like, comment, and subscribe. If you left a comment below, tell me how I did, or if you want to see any other games I could completely rehaul the sound for and walk you through how I do all the sound design and the music. Just let me know in the comments below. I would really love to do this type of thing again. So thank you again. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you next time. Peace.